Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep today into Hong Kong, one of the world's, well, most dynamic urban centers, and specifically how it's completely redefining the game for extended stays.
Exactly. We're not talking short trips here. Think professionals, corporate teams, maybe entrepreneurs needing a solid base for, months at a
A
time.
real home base, but flexible.
And that need is driving some really explosive innovation, actually.
Mm.
So our mission today is to look at this dynamic expansion of Hong Kong's service department market. We've got sources detailing brand new projects, and they're pretty different from each other. They cater to a really wide
Well,
spectrum.
wide spectrum. Yeah.
Everything from truly ultra-luxury residences right down to some pretty radical co-living concepts. It's quite a snapshot of how developers see this market.
Right. And the core takeaway we spotted early on seems to be this rapid, almost strategic diversification. The market's reacting fast to demand for places that are flexible, packed with amenities, and crucially well located. The key insight, it seems, is that the market's adapting not just to, say, post-pandemic travel shifts, but to the really specific needs of people needing a comfortable place to live and work abroad.
Yeah, they need something that bridges that gap, right, between a short hotel stay and the commitment of a long residential lease.
Exactly. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Let's start right at the top, the absolute luxury tier. If you've got the budget, how are developers redefining what a luxury long-term stay even is?
Well, you really have to start with K11 artists. It's kind of setting a new benchmark. This is New World Development's big statement right there on the Tsim Sha Tsui waterfront. Prime spot.
Okay.
It's a decent-sized development, 14 floors, 287 units. But, and this is key, they're absolutely not marketing it like a standard rental. They call it an artisanal home.
An artisanal home that
Yeah.
sounds, well, bespoke, very curated. What makes it feel less like a hotel and more like, a specific residence?
It's the deep dive into art and culture, the design itself, the atmosphere they create, the seamless digital stuff. It all focuses on blending comfort with cultural immersion. But maybe the most striking thing, especially for Hong Kong, is the space.
Ah, space. Always the key there.
Definitely. The residences are described as notably spacious, and apparently almost all have balconies, which is, incredible premium there with those harbor views.
That really is the ultimate amenity in Hong Kong, isn't it? The view and just sheer square footage. But even with that private luxury, they've managed the service side for that long-term professional stay.
Precisely. The idea is the stability and privacy of home, but with flexibility. Stay short-term, stay long-term. And that comfort gets amplified by digital concierge services and, really importantly, the dining and retail options that just flow from the K11 Musée complex next door.
So it's a whole ecosystem.
It really is a high-end integrated ecosystem you almost don't need to leave.
Okay, sticking with high-end debuts, we also saw a huge player, Vanke, the Chinese developer, step confidently into this segment, the Luna in Wanchai. What does their entry tell us about how stable this specific niche market is perceived to be?
It signals huge confidence, I think, that this extended stay segment is seen as viable, maybe even profitable, even if the wider housing market has its ups and downs. The Luna, it's 29 stories, 105 units. They have studios starting around, 365 square feet? But the top end goes up to nearly 1,800 square feet.
Hold on, nearly 1,800 square feet in Wanchai. Just to put that in perspective for you listening, that's not just large for Wanchai. That is exceptionally rare service space in one of the densest parts of the city.
Absolutely. It shows who they're targeting, a very sophisticated demographic. It's designed by Make Architects, aiming for that super high level of hospitality. Hotel-like amenities, housekeeping, concierge, the works. It's built for the professional who needs convenience, location, and, an elegant private base for months.
Okay, so we've looked at the ultra-exclusive end. Space, art, service define the price. Now let's pivot completely. What if you're, say, a younger professional? Or maybe a startup team needing flexibility, but affordability and connection are the main priorities, not huge private space.
And this is where co-living really steps in. It perfectly shows the market's differentiation.
Yeah.
The models are like polar opposites, but both seem needed. Look at Hines launching Dash on Pratt in Tsim Sha Tsui, operated by Dash Living, that's aimed right at this group.
Dash on Pratt, that was a former hotel they converted, right? What's the core idea there?
It's efficiency, but geared towards connection. It's 18 floors, specifically for young professionals. The rooms themselves give you independence, comfort. They range from about 210 to 395 square feet.
Manageable.
But the real focus is the community aspect. They deliberately emphasize shared amenities, communal kitchen, a dedicated workspace, a lounge.
So the trade-off is clear. Less private kitchen space maybe, but you get built-in social opportunity.
Exactly. That's the value proposition.
Which makes sense. In a city like Hong Kong, meeting people outside work isn't always easy. And then there's Utopia. They seem to take that social engineering even further. Their place at Kai Tak, for instance.
Utopia really tries to reimagine serviced apartments, as they put it. They basically make the communal spaces the architectural focus to actively foster interaction. Kitchens, living rooms, they're moved out of the private units into these shared zones.
Yeah.
It's a very intentional design for social mixing.
Okay, but when you say deliberately removing private facilities to force interaction, isn't that just a nice way of saying they're making the most of expensive, limited space by packaging it with mandatory socializing? How do people actually find that trade-off?
That's a fair question. And yes, it's absolutely a strategy driven by high land costs, no doubt. But for the target audience, the value seems to hold up. Because the alternative might be a tiny, isolating private flat that costs a fortune. So the Utopia rooms are small, yes, 110 to maybe 208 square feet, but functional, nicely furnished. The value comes from those shared living areas, the bundled utilities, and that sort of instant community.
I get the appeal. You're trading square footage you maybe don't need or can't afford anyway for a whole lifestyle package.
Exactly. And Utopia often encourages longer stays, like a minimum of 6 months.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it shows they want to build a stable community, not just have people passing through for a few weeks. It's about commitment to that shared environment.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit and try to connect these dots. We're seeing luxury focused on artisanal design, maximum space, while co-living is all about minimizing private space to maximize community and shared stuff.
Fundamentally opposed strategies, really.
Yet both segments are expanding fast. So what does this aggressive expansion tell us about the overall health, maybe the confidence, in the serviced accommodation market?
Well, what's fascinating is that these openings signal really strong developer confidence, a vibrant expansion. And this is happening even though, as our sources mentioned, the general residential rental market saw a kind of muted recovery in late 2022.
That's a key distinction. Why is this specific serviced model seemingly insulated from those broader rental trends? Why are developers so confident here?
A few reasons, I think. And they all point back to that professional traveler needing flexibility. First, it's often about corporate budgets. Service apartments can be expensed differently than signing a long lease.
Right, it's a different budget line.
Second, risk mitigation. A team coming in might not want a 2-year lease commitment in an uncertain climate. A month-to-month service solution is much cleaner.
Makes sense.
And third, just speed and convenience. Immediate move-in, all utilities included. Cleaning, security, that's huge for business efficiency.
So it sounds like developers are correctly reading the market. They're focusing on creating these integrated living experiences that are much more than just accommodation. It's not just a place to sleep. It's the whole hassle-free lifestyle solution. And that justifies the price, whether high-end or co-living.
Precisely. And that includes incorporating unique elements, like the art and culture at K11 Artists, or the engineered social structure at Utopia. The market is successfully selling a bundle: comfort, convenience, and community. And for global professionals living away from home for extended periods, that bundle, that ease, is incredibly valuable.
That really pulls it together. We've seen Hong Kong's serviced apartment market evolve. It's moved beyond just temporary shelter. Now it offers these highly differentiated, integrated lifestyle experiences, tailored to specific needs. Whether you're the CEO wanting that huge harbor view and privacy, or the young entrepreneur needing community and a shared workspace right away.
And if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, maybe the rise of co-living and this emphasis on communal features, even in luxury spots, it suggests that for these extended stays in really dense global cities, the very definition of home might be shifting.
Shifting how?
Away from being purely about private square footage, towards integrated services, and importantly, social connection. Which raises a question, doesn't it? For future business travel, for long-term stays, is the focus moving permanently away from just the size of the private room? Is it moving towards the utility of the shared spaces and the quality of the built-in community? Something for you to consider.